Hello and welcome to this brand new video format and the first ever Digital Samba feature release notes walkthrough. Every 2 weeks I'm going to be bringing to you the newest Digital Samba features. This week we're looking at Digital Samba 6.1.1. For those of you that know me, I'm at one of my favorite places, a windy beach, and no worries, I've got a nice bench picked out here for us. I've got my laptop with me and let's get stuck right in. So as always, you can find our release notes on digitalsamba.com/release-notes. And let's have a look what Digital Samba 611 has in store for us. I can already tell you right now that this is the biggest release that we have ever released. So we're going to have a lot to talk about today. This release was pushed out to our servers on 18th of April 2025. And some of the highlights in this release are the multi-tab system, which allows you a completely new way of how to work with content. There's a brand new telephony integration, which now allows integrators to enable telephony using third-party services such as cinch.com or Twilio. It's up to integrators to connect. And finally, we have released support for WIP, that's WebRTC HTTP ingestion protocol, rolls right off your tongue, allowing you to stream high-quality pre-produced video streams directly into Digital Samba. And again, we're very excited about this one because it's going to give you a brand new way of how to use Digital Samba. And there's a bunch of other stuff, such as the ability to add virtual video backgrounds using the SDK and a brand new custom tile SDK method to further personalize your sessions. You can actually add any type of HTML to a Digital Samba video tile. Let's get started with the multi-tab system. So here I am directly within a Digital Samba room. I'm going to open up my content library. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And I'm now going to, with double click, open up a PDF file from my content library. And previously, when you added new pieces of content, they would basically take the space that the previous content that you had opened was taking. But now, with this new release, if I open up, for example, a whiteboard, you will see that a new tab system opens and I'm now able to seamlessly switch back and forth between content and whiteboard. And there's more to it. So if I open a second whiteboard, this second whiteboard will also open over here. I can, of course, draw on it in real time for all users to see. And if I wanted to switch to another whiteboard, I will find this whiteboard over here and I can just via a simple click switch over to whiteboard number 1, or switch back into content and say I wanted to open up another content type over here. Again, I double click a video, I play this back. This will then play the video back on everybody's screen. So now to show this, or even in a more effective way, I'm going to switch over into another view. So on the right-hand side, we can now see one of the moderators, on the left-hand side, one of the other moderators. So if I now, as a moderator with the right permissions, want to check out what's going on the whiteboard, I can do that. I can prepare a little bit of content, for example. And if I now wanted to make sure that moderator A, in this case, this user is called Steve. If I wanted Steve to know what's happening on my screen, I simply click the new push content button. And this will push Steve over to see exactly what I'm seeing. Similarly, if I wanted to go back to, say, the video, or let's go switch over to the PDF, and I pushed him to the PDF, then Steve will be pushed to the PDF. So the interface allows you to both view content in your own time, but you can also make sure to sync users up to the same piece of content that you're looking at. And we think that the way that this was done was very, very intuitive and very straightforward for users to understand. So what else? I can now also, if I share my screen, and I'm just going to share the release notes over here, so you can see that I am now sharing this piece of content over to Steve. But now let's say Steve also wanted to share his screen, and let's say he also wanted to, let's say, share this demo room, since that's the only other content I have ready here. Then we can now both share our screen. And if I, at any point in time, want to switch back and forth, I again, via that same drop down, can switch between Steve and myself. And Steve can, of course, do the exact same thing. So if he wanted to see his own screen share, if he wanted to see Rob's screen share, he can just jump over and do that. And this is a really nice way to allow multi content sharing. So that's the new content system for you. We hope you love it. Let us know what you think. All right, so we're back in our release notes, and next we'll be talking about telephony integration. Now this is going to be a super fun one. It allows you as an integrator to connect any telephony system, for example, cinch.com or twilio.com, directly into your Digital Samba calls. And for this demo, we've connected cinch.com. So what I'm going to do here is I'm first going to dial in using Skype, probably one of the last calls I'll ever do with Skype since it's being discontinued. And I'll just dial in over here. I'll turn the speaker on.
Welcome to the conference. Please enter your PIN followed by #sign.
So you can see it asked me to enter my PIN code for this particular call, which will obviously have been communicated to your users by you as the integrator. I'll dial in now.
Thank you. We will now connect you to the conference.
So this user has now been connected via Skype into teleconference. And now for users within Digital Samba to be able to hear what's going on within the conference, they simply have to click connect over here. And now Digital Samba itself also connects into the conference. And we can now see that this user has joined from the call. And now we can hear each other. So this is actually a two-way conversation, which for this demo with a single person is going to cause a lot of echoes, but I think you got the point of what's happening here. And you can pass in parameters using the SDK, passing in the user's telephony, which is telephone number, which is obviously automatically received from by the bridge, and you can identify these users yourself. And you also have remote controls, such as, for example, mute. So you can mute the remote telephony user in exactly the same way that you might mute another user within the call. So that's telephony. So next up we have WIP, which is an ability for you to add and broadcast high quality streams directly into a Digital Samba conference. I'm going to be using OBS for this particular demo. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new room. And I'm just going to call this room WIP for the purposes of this demo. We don't have to worry about any of the other settings for now. We just go all the way down to external stream and enable WIP. Now, then you need to click create room, and then go back into the room, go back down to the external stream, and here's where you're going to be able to find your WIP server and your WIP token, which is what you're going to need for your particular streaming platform. And this could be OBS or any other type of platform that supports WIP. So let's switch over into OBS now. I've already loaded the movie in, and now what we need to do is we need to go into our settings. We go to the stream tab. We go to set up WIP. So then you see that here are these two fields that you're going to need to fill in. So let's switch back into Digital Samba. I copy the WIP server, paste that into here, copy the WIP token, paste that into here, and click OK. That's all we needed to do to set up OBS. Now we go back into our Digital Samba room, and let's join this one. I'll log in. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to OBS. Now I click Start Streaming, and that's all it took. Now we just need to wait a second, and the stream will show up over here directly within Digital Samba. And as you can see, this is really, really great, pristine quality. Of course, it depends on the settings that you've set up within your OBS. Good. And that's streaming with WIP. So now there's just a couple of things left that we wanted to talk about that I wanted to show you today. But I think that I'm going to leave those for another video as they're more technical and are going to require me to do some coding. So we'll do that another day. All right. So I hope you think that was useful. If you did, please give me a like, subscribe to our channel, and see you again in 2 weeks where we're going to have some more super exciting updates for you. See you then. Bye.